Ask you, do you trust Mike Pence at all when he says the election wasn't stolen?
I don't trust Mike Pence, period.
Let me ask you, do you trust Bill Barr at all when he says the election wasn't stolen?
No.
Do you trust Mark Meadows at all when he says the election wasn't stolen?
No.
You don't trust the 60 courts that Trump brought evidence to?
No.
So it makes me worry when every single court, every single institution, every single person in America that's not Donald Trump or Mike Lindell are lying to you. When you weigh the credibility of these people, do I believe every single institution, which sure, they're flawed, or do I trust Mike Lindell? Probably the institutions that are upholding our democracy, right?
I would say that the institutions that are upholding our democracy aren't upholding our democracy.
Expand on that.
What we see is a rise of communism all over the United States.
What's the definition of communism in your eyes?
I don't have the definition of communism all over. I have the points, what these things look like. I don't have the definition of it.
Can we expand on this idea that the election was stolen real quick? What evidence do you have of that? I want to hear it.
I don't have all the data off the top of my head. I do have many friends, people like Captain Seth Keshel. Many people will laugh at this. I am friends with Mike Lindell as well.
Oh, wow.
I'm friends with all of the people who are doing the election fraud analysis stuff. I've looked at it. I don't understand it. But what we've seen is, so the 2000 Mules movie, people want to say, oh, that was garbage, that was whatever. There's countless hours and hours and hours and hours of video proof, of video evidence of people ballot stuffing.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be legal. It's wrong. It's immoral. But it was happening.
Here's my concern with this, right? So I think any amount of voter fraud should be looked into and should be squashed. That's not okay. But the problem is Donald Trump took 62 cases to different courts around the country. Every single case was rejected. He didn't win one. Does that ever scare you or make you think?
The reason why those cases were rejected is they didn't even get looked at. The courts refused to look at them based on standing, but they didn't even know what the standing was because they didn't look at it.
All of the evidence that you talked about was looked at in courts. Maybe some of them didn't look because there was so much hearsay or not enough evidence to even proceed with the court hearings. But for example, have you ever seen the video of the ballot boxes being pulled out from under the table?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what happened when that video was brought to court?
No, I don't know.
So they brought that to court, and there's this 10-second clip. We were just talking about 10-second clips earlier. There's a 10-second clip where they pull the ballot boxes out, and it looks really bad. But then when the judge looked at the 16 hours of footage from that whole day, he saw that earlier in the day it was placed there completely legitimately by the Democrat and Republican poll clerks.
But those are not suitcases. 11 Alive has confirmed they're the standard ballot containers used by Fulton County.
So we see a pattern that arises where every single time some evidence is brought to courts, like an actual legitimate court, and not just in a documentary, it's not just shown in a documentary, it's brought to a legitimate court, it gets shot down. And that kind of scares me.
I don't know if it's